So I was talking about gender equality and equity, and I was saying that basically when we talk about gender equality, we are really talking about individual rights, responsibilities, and opportunities. And we're saying basically so not to assign gender equality to sexes or to assign birth. So when we talk about equity, here we're saying about the equal treatment or the treatment, we consider to be equivalent in terms of rights, benefits, obligations, and opportunities. So gender equality is about not determining, it's about individual rights, responsibilities, and opportunities not being determined by their sex. And equity is about the treatment, i.e., having equal access to benefits, obligations, and opportunities. And in Africa, 70% of women are excluded financially. And also, in terms of the continent, we have like 42 billion financing gap between men and women, even when we come into business and so on and so forth. And according to McKinsey's Power of Parity report, advancing women's equity in Africa, that's Africa's gender parity, stands at 0.58, meaning we're not even at one full parity in terms of equity, which is not great. And then the African continent has also, regardless of all of this, we're demonstrating a commitment to promoting gender equality and empowerment of women. I think a lot of the issues is that some of these things we're talking about now, not just promoting, but actually trying to implement activities, systems, and processes that actually does champion gender equality in the environment. And we're not just now just looking at gender from the perspective of women, we also look at gender from the perspective of men in the workplace, because of course it's about equality of opportunity in the environment as well. Okay. So there are 4 pillars of gender equality. We have promoting women's security and combating gender-biased violence. We have women political participation and influence, and then we have women's economic empowerment and working conditions, which is what this third pillar is the one we're kind of talking about in the workplace, the working conditions for women in the workplace. And then the 4th one is national accountability on gender equality and women empowerment. So the third pillar is what employers should be looking at. So then why is diversity, inclusion, and equality matters? Why does it matter? Why should we even consider it? Why don't we just carry on how we are? And time after time, both research in sub-Saharan Africa and research outside show that we get better employee performance, right? Better employee engagement. They found we're higher in organizations who are embracing diversity and inclusion. And basically the premise is that where employees feel included, they are more engaged, they produce greater quality of work, and they stay longer with that company. Nobody wants to stay somewhere where they don't feel appreciated, they don't feel included, they don't feel that their background or who they are is appreciated, they don't feel they have equal opportunity, they will leave, right? So and this is from whether they're in the top leadership down to the very last employee. And then they also found more innovation, that hiring people from diverse backgrounds brings a variety of new perspectives to the table. So different personal experiences benefit decision-making and problem solving, leading to more creative and productive teams. So this is also important at the C-suite level. If we just have people who all think the same and who all are acting the same, then it means we have problems in the organization. We don't have any diversity of minds. We are all thinking the same. So if we all think we can't solve the problem, then the problem is just there, right? But when we have a diverse, somebody else will bring a different experience, a different suggestion, a different innovation, which can actually help us solve our problems or do the things that we want to do. Higher revenue, right? So one of the top long-term values is that diverse workforce perform better financially, right? So number of studies have shown that companies with diverse leadership teams have a 19% higher revenue and capture larger market shares, right, than those who don't. So company diversity also matters in terms of positive brand reputation that matches customer value. So this is where the HR will also need to look at the employer brand when we're talking about this in terms of attracting talent, right? So it really has an impact on higher revenue. And of course, if nothing else, just these four even here should be enough to motivate us to kind of look at this closely. And then cast a wider net for talent. So larger talent pool when we're operating in a diverse, when we're trying to make sure that we get the best talent from different backgrounds, different experiences, and we're making them inclusive within the organization at all levels. And then we're also allowing access in terms of equality to opportunities. We means we're widening our talent pool. So we'll not just say, okay, we only want this type of people, so we're only going to advertise this job here, or we're only going to hire people who are made referral by this type of people, or this group of people, or these persons with this background. We're not doing that in looking at diverse, inclusive, and equity environment. We're looking at larger talent pools. So we cast a wider net for talent. So we find the best candidates for the jobs openings by reducing unconscious bias. So like when you do the diversity, inclusion, and gender training, we look at this particular thing, how we reduce unconscious bias in the way we recruit in our recruitment process, right? And that's very important because that alone, if you don't get it right, you wouldn't even get the people applying in the first place because you've got unconscious bias in the way you're advertising or the way you're placing the job adverts. So sometimes people will be wondering why people are not applying for roles. It could be a scenario where you actually got an unconscious bias scenario going on that you're not aware of in your process. And then recruiters can also create a blind system of reviewing resumes whilst keeping a clear eye on their organization's unique demographics and diversity. So where we're really serious about this, where we don't want our managers and people to bias, we actually use candidate numbers. We don't necessarily need to know what their names are. So we kind of freely give proper access, right? Access to equality. We don't discriminate because we look at the name, and from the name we can tell that this person comes from this tribe, or this ethnicity, or this person may be a guy, or how we use the blind system in our recruitment process. We widen the talent pool, and we also minimize this type of unconscious bias as well. So that's just some examples there in terms of why diversity, inclusion, and equality matters. It's better employee performance, better employee engagement, and even in terms of retention, more innovation, more ideas, more solutions. There's no point organization being there and it doesn't have a lot of innovation. It's going to become archaic, and eventually it's not going to be competitive. Higher revenues, meaning that when we have a diversity, we have more ideas, we have better leadership because we've got different perspectives coming in, and that definitely research has shown gives higher revenues. And then of course, we have larger talent pool access. Okay, so we're saying that was just to kind of put a bit of foundation around what we mean around diversity, inclusion, and gender equality. But really, it's about looking at where does inclusion, diversity, and equity all start, right? And it starts with the C-suite. It starts at the senior. It starts at the senior level, and it starts at the senior level because with anything we do when it comes to human resource, managing our workers and building systems and initiatives and structures in our organizations to make them attractive, to retain our talent, and for them to work to their productivity and bring us results, which is, of course, our revenues and all of that. It comes from the leadership, the buy-in from the leadership, all right? So here we're talking about, for this all to work, or for us to really begin to take small steps towards this, we need to break the barriers right from the very top, because the very top also have issues concerning these areas we're talking about. So this means that we need to re-envisage our approach to diversity, inclusion, and equality in our businesses, in our organizations. We need to look at where are we on this? What is our views? What are we doing about it? Even if we're doing something, can we improve? So we need to, and it has to be at the C-suite level, that's the senior management level, up to board level, where you're having a board. What is our approach? And then it starts at the top. The CEO and executive team must also truly buy into the inclusive workplace and promote it, right? Because if it comes in from the middle, so the managers, the HR, but we don't see it being practiced or being embraced, then the likelihood of it surviving or even being effective is limited, because all the time people take more value when they know that the top have bought the value, have also bought into it, right? Then it's like, yes, we have to comply. So it's really important that we break the barriers from the top. And then developing your internal diverse team and trying to promote from within. So you use tools of mentorship, coaching, and professional development. So we're saying that if we are putting in this policy to make sure that we're monitoring our diversity, inclusion, and equality activities, then some of those activities will be looking at how diverse our team is, trying to promote from within, right, before we go out, using tools like mentorship, coaching, and personal and professional development to develop those people we identify as we want to build their capacity in order to to distribute them in the areas that we feel that they will be good at. All right. External hires and the approach to hiring must also be looked at, all right, to drive diversity. So I talked about unconscious bias in our recruitment process. Do you need to do a review to see how you're practicing that? And if you do decide that, okay, you're going to do an assessment, what we call diverse inclusion and equity readiness assessment, you want to find out, what is driving our diversity or not, or inclusion or equity. Okay, so you want to use those to assess some of these areas to see what is happening there. And then making diversity, inclusion, and equity the front and center in the public way to set your company apart from the competition. So it's not just us talking about it internally, it's also good for it to be shown in the activities you do, whether it's on your website, your social handles, for the public or your customers, your stakeholders, to see that actually it is very important to you. And remember I mentioned about employer brand and your reputation. That's how you do it. People need to kind of know, all right, this company, we celebrate, we encourage people from diverse backgrounds, we are inclusive, and we do offer equality of opportunity for all, and also gender equality issues are important to us. So that's one way that you can actually do that. And then raising awareness by getting the C-suite executives trained in diversity, inclusion, and gender equality. It's really important to have these trainings starting from the top and cascading down, because once they've understood the value and the benefit, it's easier for you, whether you're the HR or the CEO in charge of this, to be able to come up with the strategy to kind of progressively implement it within your organization, or maybe you're the owner. Once you've understood from the training, what exactly does it involve? What do I have to do in a workplace to make this work? You can now either task it or know that, okay, this is how we're going to implement it in the business. And then, of course, making an effort to bring more diversity to the leadership team. I cannot stress that enough. This is why we're talking about it from the perspective of the C-suite, because if the C-suite, I've seen it time and time again, in Ghana, in the UK, and other places where you have this team of leaders where it's just not diverse, it's just kind of regimented, it's just one way, and so decisions and everything is always one way. And you can sometimes experience this when you go to organizations and you hear the workers talking. You usually will indicate to you that the leadership is not diverse, because they will describe very regiment, but it's very one way. No one can infiltrate. It's a certain type of group of people, and so on. And that stifles organizations. That stifles your business. Even if it's a family business and you have many family members in it, for your business to sustain, you need to have other people be part of that business from different perspectives for your business to stand. A lot of the time, this is not happening. And so we create a leadership, maybe it's just all family members. There's a one way of looking at things, and that can also impact on your business. So whether it's an organization, whether it's a family-owned business, diversity in the leadership is very, very important. Okay, so what are some of these benefits? So if you look at some of the gender ones, so gender diverse boards are more likely to adopt proactive social and environmental policies, practices, and reporting generally. Gender diverse boards, this is talking from the board level, reports financial performance in a more transparent and accurate manner than male-dominated boards. So when the women come in, we have more transparency when it comes to reporting financial performance, which is good. Female directors often bring new perspectives and offer alternative solutions for complex problems. So this is why it's important to have female executives at the executive level. Studies have also shown that having an inclusive leadership is critical to meeting new talent demands. Okay, so if you also narrow yourself and it's only this group of people I'll hire or this type, you limit your talent pool. So that means that in your organization or your business, you can't find people to fill roles because you've kind of streamlined it to be a certain type of persons, and they are not many, right? And sometimes, so you're having talent problems. But when we open up and appreciate what people are bringing on board as to some of these biases that we hold, we get more opportunity to tap into more talent. And then also in terms of collaboration, so companies with inclusive leadership, where the leadership has women, it has people from different ethnic backgrounds, different age, it's kind of diverse and inclusive. It says that it improves team collaboration by 29% and their effectiveness by 57%. This is the research done by Change Board. So you can see that when you have, because you're going to have a pool of ideas and so on. Female leaders also tend to have a more collaborative leadership style than men. And then we'll move on to the McKinsey report, which also says that women matter, and it talks about the fact that you can improve the business operations when you're having women by as much as 55% and boost the return on equity by 35%. These are not small percentages to be having in your business. And then diversity equals higher financial returns for businesses, which I've mentioned to you earlier, because you've got more innovation, you've got more insights, you've got more ideas, you've got more. When people are also happy, they tend to work better when they feel that they are in an environment where they are accepted, where they can see other people like them are in it. It all contributes to the productivity and the bottom line. They also came up with saying that there was a significant correlation between improved financial performance and diverse leadership, right? So that's what we're talking about is at the C-level, the importance of diversity at the leadership really has an impact on the financial, on the money, the income you are bringing into the business. And I feel like any CHROs or HR directors listening, you've got to put the business case to this, and you've got to take it on to look at how you're going to tap into this for your organization. Time and time again, that's what the research is showing, that there is a significant correlation between improved financial performance and a diverse leadership, all right? Businesses with the most ethnic diversity at higher levels are 33% more prone to have better profitability than firms that do not. So where you have ethnic diversity, you are more likely 33% more prone for better profits than where you don't. So that again tells you about the importance of diversity around ethnicity. Then team performance. So here diverse workforce efforts and inclusion at work makes for 17% better team performance. That was a research done by Deloitte. And then a diverse leaders prompt employees to work 12% harder, right, than leadership groups, teams that are not diverse. And this was a research done by Change Board. So you can see that these trends are happening, and this is the reason why I'm talking about this, is that we need to begin to look at look at it from this perspective, and we need to be able to put the business case to the leadership in terms of embracing this. Because as we're seeing the trends moving, these are going to become factors that women use to decide where they want to work. Because we know that as we are now moving in the future of work, there's going to be a lot more women in the workplace. And a lot of these women are very talented, they know what they're about. And as a company, you need to hire talent. And they may now be in a power position of deciding whether they come and work for your business or not, based on how diverse, how inclusive, and your gender equality practices, right? So we cannot just ignore it. At the same time, you also have the different generations coming. You know, our younger generations think very differently. Even in Ghana, here in Africa, here in Nigeria, wherever you go, the mindset of our millennials, our Z generation are very different. They are not coming from the boomers generation and that thought process. And these things are important to them. You know, now we have situations where some of them can even just stop working just because they don't like the way the company is running or handling them. They don't even give you a chance to even rectify. They just leave, right? And so, because we've empowered them to appreciate certain things. So they're also coming into the workplace with different mindset. And these particular things are important to them. Seeing that the environment is inclusive, is diverse, and also it allows them to be, have access to equity regardless of their gender. So we can't just ignore it. And the organizations that will have the competitive edge will be the organizations who take these things, this particular area very seriously and actually do something about it. Okay, so in conclusion, why should you embrace it? Why should your organization embrace it? Whether you're a business owner, whether you're coming from an organization, I'm saying that you need to embrace it because the management of diversity has become a critical aspect of global businesses and dynamics within societies since and when you properly manage diverse workforce, it has a greater competitive advantage. We need to think about it because even now, as we speak, if I just pick an industry, like if you look at the e-commerce space, if you look at the new opportunities that's coming through the AFTA, where we're going to be able to cross-border trade and go into other countries, you need to understand how diversity, inclusion, and equity is working because you may even be engaging workers that are not from your territory that you're operating. You're going to have customers and stakeholders who are coming from different backgrounds as well. If you've not made your organization understand to appreciate the differences in your stakeholders and how are you going to handle them? Are you going to handle them with your unconscious bias? Is that going to help your profit margin? So it's not even just about the internal now, we also have to look out to how we're dealing with our suppliers, the stakeholders who engage with our businesses or our organizations. Also, we need to be making sure that we're looking at how we're promoting diversity in that aspect as well. Then the relevance of managing diversity is to create an inclusive environment which facilitates a sense of belongingness, appreciation of individual unique characteristics within a diverse workforce and leadership, right? So we're trying to create an environment where we feel included, where we want to be part, which brings out the best in us, which affects the bottom line, that's the income, the financials. And there's a strong business case for workplace diversity, inclusion, and gender equality. People are the powerhouse behind your businesses. Whether you're the business owner or you are the business leaders, the people are the powerhouse. Without the people, we're not going to achieve a lot. And hiring a variety of demographics positively, right, affects your work environment, your revenue, and your brand reputation. So it means you've got to take this element very, very important because it's also important to the people who are the powerhouse behind your business or behind your organization. And as we are moving, this is going to become a very big deal. So this is what I'm talking about it. Okay, so before the technical hitches, we have come to the end. So if anybody has any questions, you can either type it in the chat and I can answer them. Whilst I wait for some questions, well, I actually have a question to ask, listen to me talking about diversity, inclusion, and gender equality. what do you think are the blockers in your organization or your business that is going to stop you or is stopping you from maybe embracing it, or if you've already started listening, what areas are you thinking that you need to improve? Or do you even think this is something you should look at or is important to your business? Is this new to you? So kind of also share your thoughts as well as having questions. And I wanted to say that if you do want to have training for your organization, you can reach out to me. I'm championing diversity, inclusion, and gender equality training for the International Labour Organization, that's the ILO. And this is a 3-month program where we start off with three days classroom training. And then at the end of that, you have coaching sessions. So we come up with a whole plan around these 3 areas of what we're going to do, which is unique and relevant to your organization. And then you have coaching visits and coaching sessions with myself and making sure that you are able to implement this. And it goes right from the very top right down to the employees. And it's a strategy that, of course, looks at also KPIs and measures relevant to your organization. So if you're interested in that, you can just send me a message or WhatsApp me, message me, link to me, wherever you are connecting with me, you can just message me. And I can send you a bit more information on it if you want to have your teams or leaders, etc., trained in this area and you want them certified by the International Labour Organization. You can do that. Okay, do we have any questions that we want to ask? Are we having any challenges concerning this area? I know that it's an area that is still relatively, it's not new, but we're not placing the importance on it as we should. But I can tell you that there is no getting away from this. It's already happening in organizations. A lot of multinationals that come into our space when they've been hiring you are looking at some of these things, and we need to start looking at it and from a strategic advantage perspective. Okay. All right, so well, if no one has any questions, then I'm going to thank you all, as usual, for those of you who were able to join me. I'll do my best to see if I can piece the recording together because we had a lot of interruptions. If I can, I will do so and share. But it's been a pleasure, as always, for you to share. I hope you did take something from it. And of course, you can reach out to me following the session if you want to discuss anything concerning it. But moving forward, I really want to encourage you to really look at this because it's not going to go away and it's going to become a factor. In fact, it's going to come to a point where when recently we had a client going for a bid for proposal for a contract, and the company that they were going for, the institution that they were applying for this contract, asked them for their policy on diversity, inclusion, and gender equality. And luckily for them, because we manage the HR, we obviously have created these policies for them, and we were in the process of implementing, including down to the suppliers. But this is it, in proposals, they are asking for it. You may go for a job and you'll be asked, what is your take on this as the HR or even as a leader going in? And the higher up you go into certain environments, they want to know how you're going to address this particular area. So it's not just about your organization or your business. Those of you in careers, this is also a big area. And definitely, as you know, sometimes in Africa we're lagging a bit behind when things are happening in the denomination, but eventually, very quickly, it gets into our space and we are found displaced. So I want to just encourage you that yes, it's a step at a time, but after hearing, at least you can start with just trying to raise awareness, right? Just trying to raise awareness, trying to understand where your organization or your business is when it comes to diversity, inclusion, and gender equality. Just start from there, and then, of course, you can cascade. But for those of you who have organizations that are well established and you know that, okay, this is important to you in terms of your values or principles, or actually you want to try and capitalize on the benefits that I shared with you, you can always reach out, obviously, to have a more formal, in-depth training and support to implement this as a policy and a practice in your organization. All right. So thank you very much. As always, it's been a pleasure. We only do the 4 of these webinars a year. This is the first for this quarter, and we'll share subsequent sessions that we're going to be running on our website and in our social handles so that you can register early for the awards. We've got very good topics, and also I'm going to be inviting other facilitators for the subsequent ones as well. So do look out for them, where we're trying to tackle some of the areas that we know at the C-level or the owner or the high level. Sometimes you just need to have like an independent perspective on them. All right. So it's been a pleasure. I'm wishing you a very good day. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Have a very good day. Thank you and goodbye. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Have a good day too.
You're welcome.